All right, perfect. March 1st. Wow, March. Wow. We're in February, guys. Crazy.
Amazing.
So we are here with the Indiana Jones of superfoods, the ingredient hunter, the co-creator of Shakeology, Darin, Olien. So cool that you took the time to hop on here, man. So tons of questions we got for you. Kind of have them written all down here. But before we hop into that, maybe tell us a little bit about your background and kind of how you got linked up with Beachbody, and then how Shakeology kind of came to be.
Yeah. So kind of going back in my undergrad years, I got hurt playing college football, and that's what kind of shifted my focus going, hey, I got to learn about this stuff, health and nutrition, exercise phys, all of that stuff. And that's what kind of turned on my curiosity of food, nutrition, exercise, and how important that was, because I essentially had to start healing myself. From there, diving into the major, graduating, I was obviously really curious, but the bells started going off when I started really looking at food and really seeing supplements for what they were. So I had, enough information to kind of get me in trouble in terms of seeing the reality of some of the stuff. So I started playing with stuff. I started formulating. I started doing those things. And I said to myself, listen, if I really want to understand some of these ancient kind of botanicals, I have to kind of go to the places of origin. So that started me on the superfood hunting aspect, and it's very, quiet and just trying to connect up and finding farmers and all of that. And in the process of that, I found a lot of things that people hadn't seen before, and the relationships directly with the growers and things. And I started my own. So the origin was I was going to start my own company and develop a bunch of products. And developing products and starting your own company costs money. And I kind of blew through all my money, and kind of serendipitously, the guy that I had hired moments before ran into Isabel Deigler, and her boyfriend at the time wanted to develop some nutrition products for Beachbody, and I didn't even know who Beachbody was. And so I met her, and I immediately, just like, we had this kinship in how we viewed the world of health and nutrition. And so the next step was I sat down with Carl, and Carl was just, I don't know if most of you know him, but he's pretty much what you see. He's passionate, he's driven, and he kind of, meeting him, he was like, listen, I want to develop this idea of this shake, I think, and we need someone to do it. And don't worry about cost. Let me focus on marketing it. Just do it right. And I was like, really? Because not a lot of companies will kind of give you that ability to do it right and then worry about marketing it later. So that's in 2006. That started the journey. I created a development deal with them, and the product was launched in 2008. And no one really at the company in the development process knew or thought that this was a good idea, except Isabel, Carl, and I, really, because it was such a high-end product with high-end ingredients. And for a big company to do that and to make margin and to make it a viable business was risky. So as we saw the effect that was having, and 1,000 people, 10,000, 100,000, and now it's just building. Obviously, there was a business starting, and we hit something that was necessary for people to get kind of a nutrient density in a convenient way that most people are not in a position of getting. So that was kind of the start. Oh, I can't hear you. There you go.
All right, I'm back.
There you go.
Perfect. So for us on this call, there's definitely a lot of things we'd like to pick your brain on, but I think the main thing to kind of kick it off would be just to like learn more about what's in Shakeology and the benefits of it for our body, short term and long term. So kind of have like this little picture here from a while back that says what's in Shakeology and how it works. So I thought maybe we could kind of like walk through some of the different nutrient groups, and you could just maybe touch base on each of them, what a few of the foods that are in that nutrient group and how that benefits the body in different ways. So like the first being proteins and amino acids.
Yeah. So to kind of set that up a little bit, I would just say that the Shakeology itself, the intention of it was to kind of fill in the gaps of a busy, stressed out, nutrient-less human being because we are in a position, look at the facts, don't just listen to me. The facts are that our soils from monocropping, our country is the lowest graded soil country in the world that is stripped of many of its nutrients because of monocropping. So the vast majority of food production is already starting from a nutrient deficit. At the same time, we are in a position and in kind of this experiment of our lives in a very stressful way. We're getting stressors that we have never experienced before. Those are chemicals that we have made and put in food, chemicals that we have made and put in our waters, chemicals that we have made that we've emitted in our atmosphere, and that's about 70 to 80,000 new chemicals, man-made chemicals that are being emitted into our atmosphere every year, most of which 10% are only the ones that are being tested. So the reality is, and not to mention electromagnetic stress, poor quality foods that create nutritional stress, not to mention, of course, continued relationship stress, financial stress. All of these things are creating a very stressful situation under the same guise that our soil is depleted and our food is undernourished. Therefore, it is a prescription for disaster of running us right down the path of chronic disease, right? So that's the context of all of these buckets of what Shakeology is and why they're there, okay? So I just wanted to set that context because it is essentially, I always say this, it is a delivery system of some of the greatest nutrient-dense botanicals and hard-to-find superfoods in the world. And it's not about it being sexy or exotic. It's about it delivering on something that is this situation where we need this nutrient-dense food, okay? So that's the context of which I started this formulation and to which these buckets ended up showing up. So that being said, it's all of these different buckets and certainly the proteins are essential. Now, are they that essential? Well, they're a piece of the wheel. So I know that proteins have always been, certainly in the last 3 to 5 years, it's some sort of badge of courage or display of a health product that people always ask, hey, how much protein does it have in it? How much protein? How much protein? All these fads, all of these kind of ketogenic and paleo emphasizes protein. And by the way, it only emphasizes those things with undereducated people, meaning that we just only know what we know. So we ask the same thing that everyone asks. So the main aspect of the proteins in Shakeology is, number one, that every plant on the planet has essential amino acids. Well, non-essential and essential amino acids, to which those are the building blocks for every single protein synthesis in our body. So everything you eat has a degree of protein and a matrix of amino acids. So the number one thing is, my number one focus was not to go, how much protein do I need to get in here to make it some sort of super shake, right? It is a well-balanced array of plants, mostly, and amino acids. So it's a matrix and a blend of proteins. It is not the protein itself. Many of the ingredients that we have chosen in here that are contributing to the protein matrix are also contributing other food factors, other micronutrients, other things. So you will get from my discussion that everything has a pleomorphic effect in the body. Our formula itself has a effect in the body that is not linear, right? If we're talking like a regular protein shake, everyone's like, how much carbs, how much protein, how much fats. It's a very limited and linear view of health, as opposed to Shakeology is an infinite cacophony of micronutrients that on a cellular level, on a food-based level, your body can utilize in a much grander way than these macro proteins, carbs, and fats. Because again, what we want to do is create a situation where you can consume this on a daily basis so that it helps your body function, not undercut, and also start to optimize your body systems. And that's really, again, what the foundation of Shakeology is. So
awesome. So I think a great thing for all of us to kind of leave the call with would be, instead of just being able to say like Shakeology helps with my cravings and helps with my digestion, to be able to like dig a little bit deeper on that and say, you know, why that is.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to dig into like some of these other things like antioxidants, the phytonutrients, the adaptogens, prebiotics.
Absolutely.
So that we have a little bit better knowledge of, okay, yeah, we feel the effects, the benefits, but like speak knowledgeably about the foods that are causing that, creating that.
Totally. So, you know, some of the example I go into set up to answer that question is, I use the example that everyone's heard. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. And what is that really saying? What that's really saying is this amazing fruit that has 300 different beneficial compounds in it is beneficial to your body if you do that on a daily basis, right? If you do it on a daily basis, guess what? It thwarts your need for your body to break down, therefore giving your power away to a doctor to help you get better. So the context of this very complicated formula is that, imagine if an apple a day keeps the doctor away, and now let's look at Shakeology in that same vein, and now we have some of the greatest botanicals in the world that have been used sometimes thousands of years and have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and together have thousands of beneficial compounds. Now if you're taking those every day added up over time, now what are you looking at? So if an apple a day keeps the doctor away, what do you think the 60 plus superfoods and botanicals and herbs that we have in there, what do you think that's going to do on a daily basis? So some of those buckets that we're talking about are fantastic and a week's worth of conversation, right? But some of those are as simple but yet as powerful as prebiotics and probiotics, right? So we have some of the greatest prebiotics in the world, one of which is Yacon, right? So a prebiotic is essentially food that your very, very healthy bacteria need to be strong and survive. if they don't have good food to support them, and at the same time you're eating food that does not support them, i.e. processed food, then you give food over to not so beneficial bacteria, and therefore you're changing your ecosystem of your digestive flora and many other subcategories that relates to, i.e. this 80% of your serotonin, of your feel-good molecules come from your brain. The essential breaking down of everything needs to have beneficial bacteria. So you really have this, and not to mention, the most obvious is the largest part, 80 to 90% of your immune system is coming from the health of your gut. So now when we're talking about prebiotics and probiotics, so prebiotics being food for the beneficial bacteria, and now we're also using clinically proven probiotics in the formula to be able to get to the proper areas of the digestive system to support then the beneficial bacteria themselves as well. So now we're really talking about supporting the microflora that is largely has to do with feeling better and breaking down food and supporting your immune system. So as you can see, these are not just buzzwords. They're a very, very functional thing that's involved in this formula. So think about Shakeology less as all of these buzzwords and more as a functionality. There's so much function that's going on into this formula to support what? Not to stimulate you to have a full sense of feeling better, but to lay a foundation and give the glue that you may need as your life is increasing, as stress is increasing, as you're getting hit with just things that naturally occur, that it's laying a foundation for a strength that you absolutely require on a consistent basis. So that's kind of the essence. And if you want, which I strongly encourage, be fascinated and be curious about your own health, and be fascinated and be curious about what is in Shakeology. Do your own homework. Look at the microbiome. Look at the studies. Look at the microflora. Be fascinated with, holy cow, this is an amazing world of microbiological activity that is essential for our health. And 2006, we started laying the foundation because I knew that this was an important aspect of laying a foundation for our health. So that's prebiotics and probiotics. So similar, do you want me to just to keep going?
I guess with those two, the pre and the probiotics. So we have this good bacteria that lives in our gut that its job is to break down the food and disperse the nutrients, which does a lot of different things. And one of them is it helps create the serotonin in our brain, which is what helps us like feel good, right? So, but if we don't have those pre and probiotics in there, then the bacteria isn't going to be able to do the job it needs to do. It's not able to distribute the nutrients correctly. And
absolutely. And yes. And so what we're doing is we're providing a delivery system in Shakeology for some of the greatest support that we need in our daily life. Now, that being said, I'm very clear with Shakeology is not a magic bullet. It's also very important to exercise, drink good water, eat other good food to support, continue. I mean, if you look at Shakeology from its kind of its theos, the way that it was constructed, you can almost live, I've never said this before, but it's actually true. You can almost live by the virtue of how Shakeology was put together in the rest of your life. Yeah. Meaning, like, if I look at enzymes, probiotics, adaptogens, proteins, if I look at it from the idea that, okay, this is how some experts put this together. So if I look at every meal as, is this supporting my digestive flora, or is this a pizza that's, bloating me, and it may taste good for 5 minutes, but make me feel like crap for the next 24 hours? Are these active enzymes? Is this fresh food? Is this organic and free range food? Because that has the rich enzymes in it. And then you look at complex proteins. Am I downing protein shakes because I bought into the idea that I need to, consume all this protein? By the way, you're hurting your acid alkaline balance, you're hurting your kidney, your liver, all of these things. Or can I look at a balanced, salad and nuts and seeds and grains and going, okay, well, that has a cacophony of amino acids and proteins, and largely is giving me everything I need as long as I eat more things. And then you look at antioxidants and phytonutrients and all of these things. So I'm kind of going off right now, but the idea is that Shakeology, even on those antioxidants and phytonutrients, the idea was like, okay, and that last slide, I don't know if you can share it, but you can share it to that slide that I sent you guys. Yeah. We can share it in a little later, but it's really how do we prepare each ingredient and so that it has the beneficial aspects of everything that I'm saying. How does it support the antioxidants and protect the phytonutrients? And how do we get that in a bag safely and effectively? Well, Beachbody literally spends millions of dollars traveling around the world, sometimes following the path that I had. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I can get into this thing a little bit and then we can go back, but this sets a context for so essentially this sets many virtue, right? This circle here, this path of quality ingredients. What this does is this says, hey, this is one ingredient, and each ingredient has to go through this very similar path. And that is a very expensive, very thoughtful, very passionate, and very concise path in order for the quality of the ingredients to be at the level that we deem them to be, therefore making a stamp or a line in the sand in the industry, because very few companies have the insight, the wherewithal, the connections, and the money to put back into their product in order for it to be at a state and a quality that they require. So if everyone sees that, and if you don't see it, if you're listening to the call, then Patrick can send this to you. But it's something I created a few months ago, and it just really seems to speak, because number one is you're starting from a place of, okay, if you understand my job is to kind of explore and find and cultivate relationships and find superfoods and herbs and botanicals that maybe need support that ultimately can help us thrive. And Shakeology, we're constantly evolving the formula too. So we're constantly looking at the checks and balances of maybe we can include another ingredient to support the formula, and then we can leave off another one. We're constantly evolving. So superfood hunting is constantly happening regardless of Shakeology being a locked formula. So number one, superfood hunting. Then really number two, then it goes into meeting farmers and the growers, and you really kind of we start to get our hands dirty. Go, okay, what's the situation? Sometimes we have to test the soil to make sure there's no environmental contaminants, even in far off places. It's scary how much the environmental or industrialization has plagued our planet. I've been in the middle of nowhere and gotten positive tests on heavy metals in soil, and that's 100% coming from industry sometimes hundreds and hundreds of miles away. So very important aspect, meeting farmers, developing relationships, all of that stuff happens kind of from the step one and step two, and then, into step three, we're kind of seeing not only traditional ways of growing, but also industrial ways of growing and doing it correctly. And then it's kind of setting those standards and setting those growing standards so that we get a consistent product. And then it's really, and that being said too, there's kind of a subcategory, and that's identifying the active compounds that we kind of use as markers. We use as markers to make sure that those levels are high. Now, if you take, for example, if you take maca root that grows at 15 to 17,000 feet, or more 12 to 15,000 feet, if you take maca root and you grow it, like say I try growing it in Malibu, what ultimately will happen over a couple of generations is because it doesn't have the stress of that area and where it's typically grown, you will get other constitutions in the plant, which ultimately will lead to the compounds lowering themselves because they don't have the stress that the ingredient's trying to keep it strong in. So it's important for us when we're running around the world to make sure that we're identifying compounds that are endemic to certain areas and that we make sure the quality. And then, of course, harvesting styles, how it's being harvested, making sure that contaminants are not being exposed to it, and making sure it's more of the ideal. Some things are even wild harvested still. They're group collectors, cooperatives. So all different, again, this is representative of one ingredient, and each ingredient has its own path within this circle. And then processing it. So processing it in the country of origin. And now this is also something not sexy, but something very valuable that we talk about. And that is most of these facilities with these ingredients end up not passing the audits upon first inspection. So we end up failing these things and then having to go into reports to go back to them and say, hey, listen, these standards will not pass our protocol. If we're going to do business, we have to help you get online with these things. And that's again, an individual thing, an individual relationship, ingredient, all that thing, all of that has to do. And then testing. Once something's processed, we test it. And then ultimately, once all of that is kind of locked in and tested in a stable powder form, we then individually package that from wherever it is in the world, and then we send it to receiving places in the United States. And then that goes into a quarantine, that goes into certain testing to make sure that that is what it's supposed to be, the standards we have set. And then, so many different tests go on to that. And then ultimately, when all of those ingredients come from all of those places around the world, and we're talking all the time, it's a constant moving. And then ultimately, that's carefully mixed in a very proprietary way. And then ultimately from there, that botanical that came from sometimes in the Himalayas from a jungle that was sometimes once in my hand, that ends up on your door. That's on your doorstep, literally on a monthly basis in a beautiful package. And that's the miracle. So one thing I always say, Patrick, and everyone, is like, one thing that Shakeology is not, hear me out here, it is not expensive. When you set that context of everything, I don't know what everyone else does in the industry. I have a really good idea because I've seen a lot of really bad things being behind the scenes in the industry, knowing where a lot of companies get their stuff from. It's a very small world at the end of the day that I see a lot of companies doing a lot of things wrong. But one thing I know is that Beachbody is putting their money where their mouth is, and have hundreds and hundreds of people that are assuring that these things occur, so that what's in that bag is in that bag. And from that far off place, it's what it's supposed to be. And it's not just a sexy thing on a label. The problem is that you can turn around any product and even compare and go, oh, well, it has sashimi in it, and so does that. So it doesn't matter. This is half the cost. And people do that all the time. But what I'm here to do, over and above me talking about Shakeology, is my mission is to improve the quality of health on the planet, improve the quality of superfoods, botanicals, and herbs, and improve that quality in every way that I can. It's a big mission. It keeps me very busy, but that's what it's about. So to have a company that supports me in doing that is why I'm still around, right? So essentially I could have formulated this thing and been gone and off to my next adventure, but I'm around because the integrity's there. Beachbody goes through its ebbs and flows, right, as a business. But the promise to me, the promise to Isabel, and the promise to Carl was to never go backwards. Like never go backwards in the formula. Sometimes we burn out of an ingredient. It can't scale to our growth, and we have to go sideways. We have to pick a botanical that's just as good, but we'll always say just as good or better. That's the first thing. But we'll never go backwards. So there's never going to be a point. If there is a point where Beachbody does that, Beachbody will no longer be, because everyone, I think, at the core of it is dedicated to that. So that's what I'm proud of, and everything that I see and everything that I do is supported with the alignment of everything that I'm doing here with Shakeology too. So I just want to say that too, because sometimes I'm obviously intimately always connected to Shakeology, but yet I operate also very independently. And there's a lot of things I'm doing right now to improve the quality of stuff that I don't even tell Beachbody, because I know what to do. I'm going to go do it, and they're going to benefit from it, and that's just what it is. And so anyway, there's a lot. I think the biggest thing I want people to understand with Shakeology is it's way beyond these little buzzwords. It's in what the real power of this coming together of these botanicals are, but also the greatest value. And that greatest value is, and I will always say this, the value of Shakeology is also the value of the people's lives we're helping to change in developing countries and farming relationships. And we've changed, I know personally, we've changed the lives of farmers around the world, right? We have. So we talk about, and this is my message, we talk about, as Beachbody, we talk about all the coaches and the benefits and all of that, and that's gravy. That's incredible. And that never gets old to me, to have someone have the benefit of drinking Shakeology every day and letting your body get influenced by these incredible plants. At the same time, we are doing things around the world that are providing income for people, that are changing their lives too, which is why I never go into business if it's not a win-win-win-win-win across the board, or else I'm out. There's no interest in it for me if it's not viewed in that way. So I want you to know that there's way more going on, that it's just good for digestion and got a few prebiotics and probiotics, and all of that shit is badass, by the way, still, because of the functionality that is providing on a ground level to your body. But there's also this massive thing that every time you share that with somebody, you are also supporting a chain of people that their lives are being changed as well. So Shakeology is a massive, incredible gateway and catalyst for health and transformation just on its own. And that, to me, because I am behind the scenes, because I am in that way, I see that. I see that directly. So it is my message to you to say that that's real and that's happening. And it's something that I want to share more of, because that's an incredible story that, you know, the transparency of what's going on with Shakeology is great. And the power that it has goes beyond just you and me.
Yeah.
So
I think it'd be
anyway,
really
that's
cool. I think it'd be really cool to have like some short little videos where they follow around one of those families of farmers that are getting big time by kind of helping us supply the Shakeology.
Totally. You know, I've been, you know, listen, tell Carl. I've been hitting him over the head for a number of years, and I mean this. I mean, I've developed a bunch of superfood videos right now, and I said, Carl, there's a story here that we should be sharing that's emotional and passionate and incredible and around the world, and we need to tell that story, because that I mean, I get it that digestion and energy is good, but I don't know about you, but when people know that the people that developed it, right, and are behind it really have so much passion and care for it that does affect and is affecting those people's lives, and that's a human to human thing, right? And that's a very, very important, especially as coaches going out and selling this. Don't minimize it by even saying it's just a shake. Like, you know, start to understand these categories of how the formula was put together. Understand how that is over a consistent basis. Hell, Carl gives you your money back after a month. Like, that's incredible right there. So, but yes, you're right. You know, hit him up, bug him, because I am. And he told me the 27th he has some more free time, and we're going to talk about it more, because I believe there's a message here that's deeper and better and greater and needs to be told. So
I love it. I can feel the passion. I'm like getting passionate about it just from listening to you. It's cool, man.
Yeah, all your coaches, go bug Carl. Let's do videos. Let's do superfood hunting stuff. Let's show these people. Let's hit him up, bug him.
Yeah.
Because that's an important, listen, that's an important way of sharing, and it's an important way, call it marketing, but it's just sharing. It's just going, listen, if I could take you all into my world and see that, that's what I would want, because you would viscerally feel it and you would see it. And, you know, so we need to do that through video. I can't take everyone on my trips, but, you know, so.
And then recommending Shakeology to other people would just be like even more of a no-brainer, knowing all that stuff. Yeah.
Exactly, because what are you doing every time you buy anything? You're taking your precious money that you've worked hard for, and you're saying, I want that product, but I also am saying I support that company in doing what they're doing. So every time you buy a Twinkie, you're supporting Nabisco, whoever the hell makes that. Every time you buy anything, you're supporting companies to continue to profit. So ask ourselves, with our money that we worked our asses off for, who do we want to support, and what are they doing to make the world better? I mean, that's how I look at it, you know?
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
So we need to tell that story.
Awesome. I'm in. All right, we got about 20 minutes left. Maybe we'll do a little rapid fire Q&A here.
Sure.
All right, so a couple questions. Everyone on this call probably gets asked this all the time. Someone will say that has never tried Shakeology. What are like some of the benefits I'll feel from Shakeology, like right off the bat, and then what are some maybe that'll kick in longer term if I continue to drink?
Well, those are tough questions to ask me, because it all depends on also what a person is doing, right? So this is when you're engaging with somebody, where are they starting from, to then better understand what they may expect. If I'm with someone who's not doing anything, is eating like crap, is not sleeping, is inflamed, and just not doing well, chances are really good that if they drink this over the next week, they're going to probably feel lighter. They're probably going to feel more energy. They're probably, some of their aches and pains may go away. And then that over time is going to continue to build. Now, here's the other trick. When people are so used to feeling like crap and something kind of slowly goes away, sometimes you don't even realize it. Right? You know what I mean? So like, hey, my back has been hurting for a week, and then I woke up and then I didn't even realize it wasn't hurting until later in the day. So it's all kinds of things like that. But I would say, you know, along those lines, find out where the person's at. So then you can kind of set the expectation. Certainly always go on yourself. What did you feel like? I always go back to the same thing, because this is like, keep in mind, this is like taking an apple and eating it. What are you going to expect by eating an apple today? Well, it's probably going to taste pretty good. So you can expect that over the next week. If you've, instead of eating your muffin and you've eaten your apple for a week, you're probably going to start feeling a little better, especially a couple hours after, or some of your cravings are going to change. So that's how you need to kind of look at it. This is, again, it's not a magic bullet. It's got a ton of nutrient-dense food in it. Originally food, right? Carefully processed so that it has all of these nutrients. So over time, you have the building blocks of building a very strong foundation for your. And some of those things are, you may feel stronger, more vitality, sleep better, all of those kind of things. Now, and that is, you know, for me, it's still bloody convenient. You know, for me, I come back from my workout, I throw it in, I throw a bunch of other crazy shit I'm experimenting with, I throw it back, and it's fantastic. And it hits me, and it's balanced. And it takes away those it does everything that all of the buzzwords say. It takes away the cravings, all of that.
That's a question. I was actually curious, like, why it does, because everyone says that their cravings go away for like sweets and junk food. Like, what is it that it causes that?
It's a great question. And that's really on a cellular level, and it's also on a microbiome level, is what I would say. So when you're getting a blend of plants, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, phytonutrients, cellular food.
Right.
Over time, if you're eating kind of complex man-made, pizzas and all of the stuff, you're getting macro nutrition and very little cellular micro-dense food.
You're getting full like on a volume level, but not on a cellular level. So you're hungry again, like in an hour.
Totally.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you're feeling a volume, because there's two ways the stomach shuts down hunger and your brain. When you're getting actually nourished, and by the way, over the years, I require less food. My body's so good at breaking down food, I don't need to eat that much. Right? People are amazed at 210 pounds and working out my ass off every day that I eat as little as I do, because your body gets used to that kind of system, very efficient. So you go from this kind of volume pushing on your stomach, and then your stomach goes, that's it, I'm good, I can't take anymore. Or let's go the other way and go, hey, I think there's something with eating plants. There's 60,000 research articles saying, I don't care what you believe in or what fad you're in, that there's over 60,000 research articles saying eating more plants is healthy for you. So you can't fight. Eat more plants, and we have adaptogens and superfruits and prebiotics, probiotics, vitamins, minerals. We have all of that in there. That's going to resonate with your cells.
Awesome. Okay. Another quick one here. So why with the Shakeology boosts, the focused energy, the greens, and the digestive boost.
Yeah.
Why add those to Shakeology?
So so why eat blueberries as well as an apple? Right? So again, we have put so many botanicals in for a wide variety of people that everyone can benefit from. So the formula was not, I wasn't developing a formula specifically for my needs. I was developing it for the widest population of people. Now, we all have individual needs. Now, if I am working or stressed or need my digestive's not feeling well, or I need a boost of healthy energy, then that is my choice that I get to then add to my life. It's like, okay, have Shakeology, but then skip your vegetable salad. It's silly, right? So we've made boosts as convenient ways to add into your nutritional, menu, so that you can value the products we put together, and also know that, hey, at the end of the day, greens are the first plants on the planet. We need those. We need the chlorophylls. We need the cleansing effects of greens. We need all that stuff. So you know what? Wow, we made a green boost so that you can get more greens, right? The focused energy, I think, is one of the greatest formulas in the line of Beachbody. It's a formula that I've been using, a ton more adaptogens in there, medicinal mushrooms, as well as 2 forms of green tea and ginseng. It's phenomenal formula that doesn't allow you to tax your adrenals and drop you off the cliff like a lot of the stimulants do. So it's a wonderful formula. So, and the digestive boost is, again, insoluble, soluble kind of fiber that helps support a healthy digestive system, microflora, all of that stuff.
Awesome. Cool.
So it's more tools in your tool case is basically, yeah.
To take care of the whole system. I love it. Cool. This one's more, I guess, a little high level one. So how do you preserve the probiotics, prebiotics, digestive enzymes, and omega-3s without refrigeration?
Great question. The probiotics we found, clinically proven, clinically trialed, the formula I found years ago, and it was one of the only companies that could validate through third-party peer-reviewed research that had used a type of bacteria that was kind of call it like a grandfather bacteria that was able to pass on through the digestive system and seed itself into the small intestine where the probiotics need to be. So from that, on the probiotic side, it's a very clear partnership that we have with the supplier who developed that clinical data and that clinical product. But yes, most of the probiotics, if I just threw probiotics in there, most of those beneficial bacteria is really not going to make it to the beneficial aspects of the digestive system. So that's why that's a great question. And then what else did you ask?
The pre, the digestive enzyme, and omega-3. How you don't have to refrigerate them.
Right. So digestive enzymes are like the labor force. They're very active. They like to facilitate, right? So in our pursuit of digestive enzymes, we had to look at what do people typically require to help them break down and digest food. But we also had to look at, are the digestive enzymes going to facilitate while in the formula before they're consumed? And that was extensive research to make sure that the quality was correct and the amounts were correct in how much we used of each of the enzymes, and that they didn't in the dry state. And that's why also when you understand certain enzymes in the dried state, you suspend the activation, which is why packaging is super important, why drying and every powder having a certain dehydration, is if there's too much moisture, then those enzymes they'll start boogieing. But as soon as you consume it, and now being that your body is moist and you're swallowing it, now that's where everything kind of gets active again. And same with the essential fatty acids and things like that. Very important to understand, especially when you're grinding flaxseed, chia seed, all of these things, that you're doing it in a way that's not exposing it upon doing it. You're doing it carefully so that it doesn't expose and create rancidity. Some of which you have to extract sometimes some of the oil in certain situations because it won't work in a dry formula. Yeah. So luckily that process is continuing to improve in the industry, getting stabilized oil powders. That's the latest thing, and we've been looking into it over the last year of being able to get more healthy fats into the formula. But yeah, it's a innovation thing, and the more we innovate, the more we'll be able to get more healthy fats in too as well.
Awesome. All right, I got a $1 million question for you here that I get asked a lot by a lot of the coaches on the team. How do you describe Shakeology in less than a minute? I'm interested to hear yours.
Well, I would start with this.
I'll tell you what the best one I've heard is like the Dream Team back in the 90s that had like Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. They picked like the best players from all over the world with no scrubs on the team, and they were the Dream Team. They went out and just dominated every other team on the planet, and Shakeology is basically that, the best foods and plants from all over the planet on one team with no scrubs on the team. I thought that was pretty good.
It's perfect. I mean, I would say it exactly that in that sense. I said it's a coming together of some of the greatest researched and used botanicals in the world, some of which have been used for 10, 20,000 years of epidemiological use. Astragalus, ashwagandha, schizandra. So you got Ayurveda, a traditional Chinese medicine. You've got the pillars that we've talked about, the antioxidants, the phytonutrients, the probiotics, the prebiotics. So you have brought together in this form. Now, of course, other things, you can create other forms. You can create different tinctures or liquids or things that you can't get in other forms. But in this state, in this dry shake formula, this is literally some of the greatest Dream Team botanicals in the world. And here's the thing, we are testing, validating, and making sure that what is in that bag is in that bag, and not many other companies they're just passing around papers, but they're not actually doing the work. We're doing that work.
Right. Cool. So what do you say to people that say, I don't use shakes? Like I just eat whole foods. Like I stay away from all kind of shakes.
Well, I would say that's probably good advice for most of the shakes out there. Do I eat off of my land and fresh food and all of that? Yeah, I do. And do I drink superfoods and Shakeology and all of it? I do, because of the thing that I said before. Our environment is deprived of nutrients. Our environment is stressing our bodies. We are behind, period. If you want to know individually how behind you are, get your blood tested by a functional medicine or naturopathic doctor and do your nutritionals, right? If you actually want to know. But we are behind. So eat all your vegetables, eat your food, do all that stuff, and get your goddamn superfoods, right? Because we need it. These are the adaptogen category for me is like, those guys are like, they're on a different planet. right? These adaptogens that are able to deal with your body's stress and facilitate your immune system and help. I mean, that shit is crazy what these botanicals can do. And I just, to further support this point, I just posted on Instagram because I got hit on my property with poison oak, right? I just grazed up against this poison oak, and I'm telling you, it took me out. Like, I was messed up. I just touched a leaf, and it took me out. So I posted, I was like, holy shit, this just supports the power that we have in plants. If we think that by eating good food, good superfoods is not going to help facilitate our bodies and being and feeling better, you're out of your mind if you think that that's not true. So to those people that say, hey, I eat all this stuff, great, good. You need to do that. You need to drink water. You need to sleep. You need to exercise. You need to meditate. You need to do all of that stuff. And also tell me that unless you're, levitating and don't have anything going on, then you need the superfoods to help facilitate that which normal foods just can't do and are not doing.
Awesome. Cool. Okay, couple last few questions here. So
I got 1 minute, and I got to jump on another call.
All right. The last question is you're not going to be able to answer this one, but I'll ask it anyway, just so people don't get mad at me. You can't tell us of any new products coming up, but you can tell us that you guys are working on some things.
So you already know the answer.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's great though. Let me just say, you're gonna like it.
Okay, cool. Awesome. And then last question before you hop off. Best piece of advice you've ever received in any aspect of your life from anybody?
Oh my God. There's so many. I would say invest in yourself. It's so easy to get caught up in doing all these things. I think the one thing that got me on this path was I invested in myself to get myself happy, strong, and vital. And that's what created the avenue for me to even be on this call. I needed to take care of my house. And I mean mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Take care of yourself, and that will open a door that will blow your mind. That's what I think.
Boom. And then for us to learn more about your teachings and everything you do, what's your website?
Yeah, so superlife.com. We're going to be doing a whole new facelift on that. And then Superlife Living, all the Instagram stuff and Facebooks and all of that.
And your book.
Yeah, Superlife, the 5 fixes that will make you healthy, fit, and eternally freaking awesome. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Darin. We'll take off, but we appreciate your time. That was awesome. Thank you.
I appreciate it. You bet. Thank you.
See you, Darin.
See you.
Bye, guys. That was pretty cool, huh?
Yeah. How many people were on?
Let's see.
At one point, there was 58 people on there.
I like that the cellular full versus the volume full. Like you're feeding your cells, not just your stomach, to the point where you're like, oh, I can't fit any more food in my stomach. You're actually like feeding your cells. And if you're eating food that doesn't feed your cells, but it's just a lot of volume, your body's like, okay, I can't fit any more into my stomach. I'm full. But then your cells an hour later are like, hey, like I didn't get what I needed. So you're hungry again. And so you reach for more junk. And that's why you're just eating more and more calories that aren't giving your body what it needs. Versus like a Shakeology, which is only 140 calories, but your cells are getting exactly what it needs. So your body shuts off. It sends a message to the brain saying, like, we don't really need much more food. We kind of got the nutrients we need to, like, do the things we need to do to run at an optimal level. So I think that's something that's really huge. But the more you guys, like, look to see what the foods are in Shakeology, because there's 70 of them, the more you, like, pick, like, one a week to research it, to research, like, where it's from, what are the benefits of it. And if you do that, like, once a day or once a week, and you start to get more and more knowledgeable of each of these foods in there, it's gonna be so much more easy to talk to people about it. And not only, like, just the words coming out of your mouth, but, like, the enthusiasm and the energy that comes through when you're talking to people about it. It just, they'll see that what you're talking about, you really believe in, and you've done your research. So that was awesome. That was some good stuff. All right, March. Let's kill it. Big month. Hope you guys are all in the Dash to Diamond that starts on Monday. It's gonna be a good one. We just had our kickoff call with the 6 of us that are leading it, so that made me even more pumped up for this thing. It's gonna be awesome. Whether you're a new coach or a diamond coach or whatever, it's worth $20 to get in there and get to surround yourself with these rock stars. I mean, one coach in there has been a top 10 coach for 4 years in a row. Another one's been a coach for 3 years and already hit the Millionaire Club. You know, one of the guys made almost $1 million last year. He's got 30,000 coaches on his team with 25 5-star diamonds and above, like, in his downline. So we got some people that know how to build the business. They have the big picture. They know how volume works. And then we got some coaches that are just unbelievable at branding themselves and recruiting and connecting with new people, building relationships, inviting, running great challenge groups. So we kind of got the best of both worlds with these rock stars from Beachbody. So that starts Monday. The book we're going to be reading for that is called Go for No for Network Marketing. So that book actually hasn't even released yet. It releases on the 4th, but you can order it now through Kindle. You get the Kindle app on your phone, and you can read it right from your phone. I think if you order the soft copy, you won't be able to get it in time. But so we're going to read that book. We're also going to do like a Go for No 5 real no's every day during the Dash to Diamond, where you have to get 5 real no's every day, meaning like 5 people have to actually tell you no. Like, if they don't respond, then that doesn't really count as a no. They have to actually physically say, I'm not interested at this time, or no, I'm never interested. Like, can't be a no response. It doesn't count. So got to get 5 of those each day. That'll be kind of fun. And it's going to go 6 weeks. Got the book. We got that little Go for No. Every time you get 5 no's for your day, we're going to have a picture in the group that's a bell, and you're going to ring the bell by commenting and saying, hey, I got my 5 no's, my 5 real no's today. And it's going to ring the bell, bring the bell back to the top of the group. So we'll be ringing that bell a lot because there's a lot of us in there. So that'll be kind of cool. We got the book. We're going to be ringing that bell. And then each of the 6 leaders have our own week that we're going to, like, teach our best stuff for the week. So you guys will get to learn from, 6 of the rock stars, which would be cool. Keith Callahan, like, the guy that is the big picture guy that knows the business, that knows how to, like, paint the vision of this whole thing. He's going to kick it off on Monday. And then Amy Silverman's going to kick it off the second week, March 13th. So Keith is the 16th, then Amy is the 13th. So we got the big picture guy, and then we got, like, the rock star recruiter. So it's going to be a pretty cool 2 weeks to kick it off. And then the actual kickoff call is this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, where we're all 6 going to get on the call. And the first 500 people that get on the Zoom call can all listen into us. And we're each 6 going to share our story, our background, how we got into Beachbody, and kind of our story with the business. So that is going to be really cool for you guys all to get to hear the stories of those 5 people. I'm excited to hear that too. So, but all right, I think it's gonna be cool. We got today's Wednesday, so we got like 4 or 5 days to really start to, like, create some momentum going into this Dash to Diamond. So I'm gonna let you guys go because I got to get back to creating some momentum here, some more momentum. But Shakeology, man. Every time I listen to him, or anytime I listen to his podcast or research Shakeology, like, I stopped looking at that thing as just a bag, and I start to think, man, for $4, it's like insane that that's even a question to people for $4. And I think that's our job that's our job to get people over that $4 hurdle, to really show them why $4 is a joke. Just like Darin said, he was like, this is not expensive. For $4, this is like a complete joke for what you're getting and what you're going to benefit. So cool. All right. Great call. I'll do a little boom on 3 for anyone that wants to get involved in that. Unmute.
Yeah.
All right. Boom on 3.
Awesome.
1,
Because
2,
I just
3.
I think that
Boom.
at least a better roadmap towards like actual
guys.
health.